Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now all Bitcoin holders need to be paying attention to this chart right here. Also, in just a moment, I'll be talking about the Bitcoin long positions and why they are increasing. And towards the end of this video, I'll be talking about some of these other important Bitcoin charts that show us whether or not the bull market has topped out, and to help confirm that we're either in a bull market or a bear market. So definitely make sure you're watching all the way to the end of this video so that you're not missing out on any of this important information. And just before we jump into it, you might as well leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. We're less than 1,000 subscribers away from 100,000. And so as always, I really do appreciate all of your support. But with that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. It's right here on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I have been talking about it for around a week now. Basically, for the brand new viewers on the channel, Bitcoin is clearly in a short-term downtrend here, forming lower highs and lower lows. But with that being said, we are seeing a divergence between the RSI and the price action. And this particular type of divergence is a bullish divergence, meaning that we are due to see reduced selling pressure, which means either more sideways price action is still to come for Bitcoin, or perhaps a slight move back to the upside. But what we're seeing right now at the time of filming this video, the Bitcoin RSI is currently forming horizontal lows. So if the Bitcoin price goes any lower, that could possibly put the RSI into a new lower low, which would be the first lower low we've seen since that original crash to the downside in the Bitcoin RSI on the smaller timeframes. And so something like that happening would potentially be one of the first signals to us that the bullish divergence is beginning to fail, unless of course the Bitcoin price forms a higher low on the chart, which would obviously be a bullish sign, and that would be the bullish divergence playing out. But if we do end up forming another lower low, then we have this level of support coming in at around 44.8k approximately, and we also have this descending line of resistance coming in at around 48,000 US dollars. So those are all of the importance levels in the immediate short term that I'm paying attention to right now. But looking on this Bitcoin chart, this is the weekly time frame for Bitcoin, and what we can see here is the 55-week simple moving average. This was basically the exact moving average that Bitcoin bottomed out at during July. So obviously, if the Bitcoin price can remain above this moving average, then that would be great to see. But right now, this moving average is currently coming in at about 46,000 US dollars. But keep in mind, it is perfectly okay for us to see candle wicks below this moving average, just as long as we don't see a weekly candle close below the moving average. So if we see a weekly candle close below 46,000, then that could be more of a bearish signal for Bitcoin. But considering we've only just started a new week, we've got around 6.5 days to go until this weekly candle closes. And you'll notice that the last weekly candle that we just closed within the last 1 day held above this 55-week simple moving average, which was obviously great to see. Another really important level for Bitcoin holders to pay attention to is, of course, the golden pocket when you're bringing out the Fibonacci retracement tool from the July low up to the all-time high. And by the way, the golden pocket is the most important Fibonacci level, and that is coming in at just below 45,000 US dollars. So for as long as Bitcoin is remaining above around 44,000 to 45,000, then we're still actually looking really good here on the daily time frame. And keep in mind, the daily price oscillators is still looking pretty decent here in the shorter term. For example, the daily RSI around a week and a half ago entered into oversold territories for the first time in around half a year. And since then, it has experienced a small bounce back to the upside, creating a bullish divergence visible on the daily time frame. And looking in the daily MACD, what we can see here is the fact that we are currently in the middle of a bullish cross in the daily MACD. If I zoom right into the MACD indicator, you can see that we have seen a daily candle close in the green looking in the histogram right here. So technically that does act as one confirmation that we have seen the bullish cross in the daily MACD, but I would really like to see a little bit more follow through here, because obviously at the moment this bullish cross isn't anything significant just yet. The green, for example, in the histogram is extremely flat at the moment, so we need to see a little bit more momentum coming in here to the upside to continue to help confirm this bullish cross as playing out. And keep in mind, the last couple bullish crosses that we saw in the daily MACD was at the end of September leading into the October pump, and also at the end of May we saw a massive bullish cross in the daily MACD, which at that point in time that wasn't necessarily the bottom for Bitcoin, because you'll notice that Bitcoin hung around those sort of prices for the next 1.5 months approximately. But whether that was the bottom or not, we were very close to the bottom, and in hindsight that turned out to be a great buying opportunity. So what we can take away here is when we see a bullish cross in the daily MACD, of course that is bullish for Bitcoin looking over the next few months, not necessarily tomorrow. And speaking about indicators that make Bitcoin bullish over the next few months, looking at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, right now sitting in extreme fear again. And this chart just here, by the way, shows the times that we were sitting in extreme fear, which is represented by these green zones right here. here, and the subscribers would already know about this chart, but for the brand new viewers on the channel, I'm sure you can see the times that we were sitting in extreme fear turned out to be great buying opportunities for the longer term. And so at least according to this indicator right here, we are in a similar situation as what we were in back during June and July, and also at the end of September. So keep that in mind. And because of that, there's a lot of people entering into new long positions, getting ready for another possible swing back to the upside. By the way, these are the Bitcoin long positions over on the Bitfinex exchange on the daily time frame. And the last time the Bitcoin long positions were moving to the upside like this was right back here, and that was the month of September. Especially leading into the end of September, we saw a huge increase in Bitcoin long positions, which was at this exact moment right here when Bitcoin was sitting in extreme fear after we had already experienced a lot of bearish price action. Similar to what we're seeing right now, we've already experienced a lot of bearish price action that has brought us into extreme fear, and now we're seeing the Bitcoin long positions open up again. And then we normally see the Bitcoin long positions reduce in size as Bitcoin is flipping more and more bullish again. For example, during October, that's exactly what happens just here. And if you're wondering how much Bitcoin is going into all of these long positions, well, measuring from this low back in October up to where we are right now, over 6,000 Bitcoin have entered into new long positions in that time frame, which is currently worth over 270 million US dollars worth of Bitcoin long positions that have been opened over the past couple months. Now jumping into some other important Bitcoin charts. I've hidden my face cam so you can see the scale on this side of the screen. But anyway, this chart just here shows the Bitcoin price action and the 200-week moving average. And then these colored dots that are overlaid on top of the Bitcoin price occur once a month, and they basically show the monthly increase in the 200-week simple moving average. So you'll notice that when the 200-week moving average is relatively flat, the monthly increase in the 200-week simple moving average is right down in the blue range, as the 200-week moving average is not really doing that much. But then what we see towards the peak of a bull market, as the bull market is topping out, we basically enter a stage of euphoria where everyone is panic buying and getting into Bitcoin just from the fear of missing out. And when that's happening, we see a massive increase in the 200-week moving average. And during those points there where we see the biggest increase in this moving average, that brings these dots towards the top of the scale into the red territory. And so basically anytime we see the red show up on this chart, that is how you know that we are potentially reaching the bull market top. And you can clearly see that right now we're actually sitting in the blue. We are nowhere near a bull market top. We still have a long way to go. In fact, what's interesting is we started to enter into the green territory, which is kind of the middle of the scale right here, back during March and April before we had the crash during May. So the crash during May brought us back into the blue range, giving us more room to the upside later on. Whereas if Bitcoin continued straight to the upside from March and April without seeing the crash during May, then we would have reached up towards the red zone and topped out for the bull markets much earlier than what we otherwise would have. And now checking out this important Bitcoin chart, this chart shows us the realized HODL ratio. And this realized HODL ratio basically compares between two different HODL bands. More specifically, it's the 1 week HODL band divided by the 1 to 2 year HODL band times by the total market age. And if you're wondering what the HODL bands are, that's basically how long a certain piece of Bitcoin goes without getting spent, also known as unspent transaction outputs. And so basically the realized HODL 1 week, the first part of the formula, is essentially the amount of Bitcoin that hasn't moved in 1 week. And then when you divide that by the amount of Bitcoin that hasn't moved between 1 to 2 years times by the total market age, you get the realized HODL ratio, which is this indicator just here. The blue line is the Bitcoin price, by the way, and this red line just here, the realized HODL ratio, shows us if we're potentially at a bear market bottom or a bull market top. And so far it has been incredibly accurate over the years. This Bitcoin chart dates all the way back to 2010, over a decade ago, and this ratio has dipped into the green zone in just about every single bear market bottom so far. And looking at the tops of the bull market, every single bull market's top, this ratio has peaked in the red zone just here. And you'll notice that currently we are nowhere near the red zone. We are nowhere near the bull market top. We still have a long way to go. So when I'm taking all of this data into consideration, combined with the fact that we are sitting in extreme fear and the daily RSI is close to oversold, and we're also potentially seeing a bullish cross in the daily MACD, honestly, I am extremely bullish leading into 2022. Once again, in the immediate short term, if you're talking about the next few days, that sort of thing, yes, we are technically still in this short-term downtrend. We haven't actually confirmed a new uptrend just yet in the shorter term. But if you're looking at the much larger trends at play here, for example, the bull markets and the bear markets, right now it is very clear, if you simply take a look at the facts in front of us, that the bull market has a long way to go into 2022. 2022. And that is not even my opinion, that is just telling you the data that is in front of us. And if you want to get extra crypto updates throughout the day, make sure you follow me over on my Twitter, and the link to my Twitter is in the description down below and also in the pinned comment. If you got value out of this video, please make sure to leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. We're getting really close to 100,000 subscribers by now. We're trying to hit it by the end of this year. So if you could also help out by sharing these videos around with your friends and family, or just sharing them online, honestly, that really does help out the channel a lot, and I seriously do appreciate all of his support. But that is it for this update. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.